Hi folks, and welcome to another episode. Behind me I have a 2017 Tesla Model S 75D, and I'm going to show you, if you own one of these or you're thinking of buying one, all the pitfalls and all the things to look out for. A lot of common faults on this car. Sorry about that, that's a steam train. A lot of common faults on this car. Some of you will see multiple, some of you will see none. This particular car belongs to a friend of ours. It's a very well maintained car, so I'm hoping not to find too many issues, but you never know. So if you're in the market for one, hopefully this video will help you with some of the more common issues that we find as a company. Please remember to check out our other videos and click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you get notifications each time we upload another video. Okay, so starting off, really well-known issue is this top eyebrow of the DRL fails. The driver's actually at the bottom here, and it sort of fails up here, and then eventually it disappears completely. For the owner of this car, both of these are fine, which I'm really surprised about. I suspect he's had them replaced under warranty with a later revision, but even the later revision headlights still do suffer. They are very expensive. If you are post June or July, I can't remember the exact date, of 2017, they are an MOT failure. Pre that date, you're okay. Tesla also, for some reason, have an inability to attach number plates. They can't get them straight most of the time, but also they often fall off. Almost every car I look at, especially on the Tesla Model 3s and Ys, the front number plate holder is loose. This one is actually bolted on really tight. That's just because the owner would have sorted that out himself, I expect. And the same goes for the rear, so watch out for that. This owner's fitted a power frunk. There's his batteries. Ho ho ho. Now another common area is, you can probably, if I zoom in there, you can just see that starting to go there. It's a little bit of corrosion. So the bonnet's made of aluminium, and the striker here is made of steel, and you can guess that they start to react, and eventually you get this bubbling effect around the front latch area. Now Tesla will, and have for some of our customers, repaired, repainted, and sorted the bonnet out. On others, they've just knocked it back and said, no, we're not doing it. So that's another one to be aware of. If you can just see that witness mark there, that is where it's been rubbing, just there on the bonnet. There's a little nick out. Now, I've replaced this wiper mechanism for him recently, and that is because it was just starting to catch the bonnet. Sometimes I go to these and there is almost a W worn out, where these two bits here, I zoom in, where this raised bit here and this bit here have been rubbing through the bonnet. The problem is the car's actually quite good at drowning out the sound, so you don't become aware of it. However, if you let it keep going, this one also starts hitting the bonnet. So some really high mileage Tesla Model S's, I'm talking 300,000 plus, that we look after, they've got those where the bonnet has rubbed through. Because it's aluminium, it doesn't corrode, but I mean, the wiper mechanisms I think are 155 quid each, and they take about an hour to fit. So nice easy job, so something to watch out for again. Okay, under the frunk, not really something you're going to be able to see or look at on a test drive, but be aware of this. Just there is the lower steering column UJ, really common for seizing up and they go tight. You can grease this through the wheel arch. There's a little gap just there. You can lock the steering over and you can spray some grease on there, and that will keep that in good condition. I'm going to grease that for him now because it looks bone dry. That's what we like. Also, got a couple of coolant valves here. So one there, and there is one tucked down there. They are common for leaking. So if you look at the header tank, and you've got, it's on the max levels, you've got min, nominal and max, and that looks okay. It's probably not leaking. The first giveaway here is, you look down there, and the under tray is wet, but they leak for months, sometimes years, really slowly. They actually do what we call misting and weeping, so they're quite a common issue. Inexpensive to repair, so but just something for you to look out for. Another issue here, folks. The sunroofs are renowned for leaking, for coming loose, juddering, not opening, not closing, and the gear, the worm drive, which opens and closes the sunroof, has a habit of stripping, and people end up actually physically pulling it backwards to try and get it onto a new bit of drive to get it to draw in. So let's see if I can wind that in and push the button at the same time. You can see it juddering a little bit, but that's actually not bad. Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why Tesla stopped fitting them. They just weren't very good at doing sunroofs. It's a shame because I love a sunroof, but yeah, these can be problematic. So if you're buying one with a sunroof, check it, make sure it works. If you've got any problems with it, there's a lot of money to have this repaired. I'm talking in the thousands, so be aware of that. Okay, this is a really common issue we find. Now, you're not going to be able to see anything here, but this is what we call the wiring loom gate, the door loom gaiter. And every time you move the door, that wiring loom bends. So open, close, open, close. The driver's door is the most used door on the car. And in here is all your feeds for the door handles, the switch pack here, the window regulator, everything. Now, it's a common fuse which feeds the whole side of the car. And the wiring looms in here break. You'll lose your speakers, the window will stop dropping and opening when you open and close the door. Sometimes the car won't even recognise that the car's open. If you get any problems with the driver's door or the passenger door, and this goes for the near side as well as the off side, check here first. This is the first thing I tell people to do, is just give this a wiggle and see if anything comes back to life. And if it doesn't, the fuses are behind here. There's this whole panel just comes off, pops off in about 5 seconds, and there's a fuse board just here with all the fuses for the doors. Most common problem in the door handle, there's a handle control module, a little black box about that big. They get water ingress, they melt, they pop the fuse and it blows the fuse for the whole side. People then go and put a fuse in, an overrated fuse sometimes, and then of course they can smell the burning coming out the door handle, and they have a bit of a panic attack because they think they set the car on fire. But yeah, one to be aware of. Also, whilst we're on the doors, these were made when Tesla were, I'm not going to say they're finest, they're much better now, but these door trims, I mean, they're renowned for coming off. I'm sure if I just gave that a push, I could get that to pop off. This is actually okay, it's on, but a lot of the time I go to customers' cars and the door card is hanging off, and that's because, well, one, it's a pretty poor design, and two, the clips that go down the back here and the ones that go along the scraper moulding here are just pretty poor, really. There's not much else to say about it. A couple of good slams and that will you'll normally find that these will come off, but actually this one I think has been put on with the newer clips because, well, that's just what the owner's like. He doesn't want the door card hanging off, so another one to be aware of. Still in the car, and this is another really common issue. Let me just take the seat cover up. These seats are made by Recaro, and they're good seats. However, they have a problem with braking at the back. This isn't broken, but after a good chunk of time and distance, the pivot point down here wears out, and ultimately it feels like the seat frame is broken. I've known people just get them welded because the seats are off the scale for expense. They really are. Or they buy second-hand seats, but again, second-hand seat, I don't feel like you've got long before, you know, that it's going to go the same way. So yeah, this is another problem. Also, this leather comes away from the backing. We had a Model S, and not too long after having it, we realised that the leather was coming away from the foam behind it, and it just gave this big saggy bit. And then again, you can see down here, it's started to scrub on the seat squab and the bolster here. But that's just age related, you know, a lot of getting in and getting out. It hasn't done particularly high mileage. I think it's on about 70,000, something like that. But it's a 2017 car, so it's 7 years old. So yeah, just another one to be aware of. This is also on MCU2. MCU1, I mean, that was a problem on its own. It's well documented. I don't really need to go telling you any more about it. But you'd have times where you got in the car, the instrument binnacle wouldn't fire up, the main screen wouldn't fire up, the main screen would switch off randomly when you were driving, and eventually it would go kaput, and you wouldn't be able to start the car. Occasionally you might get one last go out of it through the app, but generally you'd need a ranger to come out and power the car up for you to get it into a service centre, and then they could replace it for you. They were doing these under warranty, where they were replacing the chip in the main screen. I feel that's only temporary. The MCU2 versus MCU1 is light years apart, so that's something else to be aware of. You definitely want MCU2. Door handles. So we used to fix a lot of revision 1 door handles. They've sort of been phased out a lot now, and we can't get a lot of the parts. We can get the micro switches and the paddle gears, but the handle control modules, we just don't seem to be able to get them. So a lot of people are just getting these upgraded to a later revision. We do now have the components to fix the revision 3 handles, which is good. So we're back into fixing these again when they go wrong. The revision 3 handles are a lot more reliable than the revision 1s, a lot less complicated. There's much less components in the handle, and the main problem within that handle we can fix. So I think this guy has had new handles all the way around because he's had problems in the past. Most Tesla owners of a car of this age would have had problems in the past. So, all right, let's carry on. Another question we get asked about a lot is these. So if you look in here, you can see that these are stainless steel. As standard, these are not stainless steel. Nearly everyone we look at will be rusted. The ram doesn't move. The guy here has replaced these with stainless steel, and he's greased the ram heads, and you can see he's done that down at the bottom as well. We've had customers asking us to remove these, clean them, re-grease them and put them back in. The problem we have is a lot of the time when we come to take these off, they're so rusted they break. So this is the clasp that holds around the pin. Yes, we've come unstuck with those a few times, but that's a really common one. If you're looking to buy one of these, and it doesn't take 2 minutes to have a quick look at the pins, and then I'm sure you can get the person who's selling it to rectify that for you. He has jump seats. I don't see this very often anymore, the extra seats. He had younger kiddies when he got the car, but water ingress into the boot, not too common, but I do see it occasionally. Normally it's caused by a leaking rear lamp cluster. That's the most common issue. But there's also a bung in the boot under the carpet, and for a short period Tesla weren't fitting that properly, so any spray was just getting sprayed through the hole and the carpet was just absorbing it. And of course it's got like an underlay made of like foam, and that'll just soak anything up. Behind here you've got a cinch motor. That's the bit that clasps and pulls the boot down, so it closes and then goes bzzzt. That's in here. They're really common, inexpensive, so yeah, that's just another one to watch out for. Not massively common, but the charge port here, this insert, the actual pins and this black bit are separate. They're just pressed together. This cracks and falls off. You can still use the charger. It's just that this bit here will be missing. I've seen people epoxy resin them back on. If you keep hold of it. If you've lost it, sorry, it's a new charge port. All right then, that's the near side front wheel off. The reason I started here actually is because the guy's complaining of a knocking noise, and I said I'd have a quick look. I think he's been chasing it. It's, you can see he's had a caster arm on there. That's all nice and shiny. And then just behind it, he's had a new camber arm. And then if I just put my bar in there like that, and you look at the top arm ball joint. Let me see if I can hold the phone a little bit more stable. Just like that. Hopefully you can see that. That's almost definitely the cause of his noise. That's another common issue. What I also do is I just get the bar in there between the anti-roll bar and the chassis leg, and then you can just have a little tweak there, and then that will show you any play in the anti-roll bar drop link. I've already tested that, there's no play in it. But yeah, so these are really common. These are less common. The camber arms, actually the most common thing on the camber arms is this here. This is what we call the lower shot bush rose joint. And then the bottom ball joints aren't uncommon, but the camber arms and the top arms are both a common problem. Inexpensive to do, to buy, and about an hour to replace each side, if you know what you're doing. We do loads of these, probably 3 sets a week, so yeah, really common issue. Another one actually is, I don't know if the owners had this done, but we always knock the pins out of here and pull the pads out and grease them. They don't look like they've been greased. If I just zoom out a little bit, well, that's all I've got. They don't look like they've been greased, but that's a must on the Model S X3s. These pins here, they just seize in. Actually seize in at this end here, because again it's steel into an aluminium caliper, and then you can't get them out, and yeah, they cause a nuisance. But also the pads, they seize in the wells of the caliper, and then one of them stops moving, the other one wears out much quicker than the other. These don't look too bad from here. I'm struggling to see the whole pad without turning the steering, but yeah, just something that's well worth doing every couple of years. Tesla recommend this. Wheel bearings, not so much now. On the earlier ones, the 2014 15s, we used to see these. The rear wheel drive ones, they're just bolt on, easy enough to do. Our guys doing roadside, so and also this is on air. Again, if you're going to jack one of these up, just put it in jack mode first, otherwise it'll start trying to self level the suspension and you can cause all sorts of problems. They're prone to leaking. Very difficult to find leaks on these if it's a slow leak. We do have customers come to us and say, I've got a leak on my Model S, it goes down every 4 days, and we're like, oh. But if you do have a leak and you leave it and it persists, you will ultimately end up scrapping the compressor. Compressors under the Frunk. Again, that's not too expensive to buy from Tesla, and it's not too difficult to replace. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but you know, you don't want to be leaving leaks and overworking the compressor unnecessarily. On the rear wheels, there's numerous control arms. The most common, well, actually, they're all quite common. The rearmost control arm has a habit of cracking and letting go of the whole assembly. I'd say that's common. I've seen maybe a handful. You have a top control arm in the middle, you have a toe link, and then you have what's called an integral link. All of these are regulars for us, but with the brake on and the car jacked in jack mode, what I'm looking for here is this movement. So I'm going to go from about 7:45 to about 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to rock backwards and forwards. You should be able to hear the knock, not the noise of my jack. And then if I try to pull the wheel forward in a turning motion, that would give me the integral link. And then if I go this way, that would give me the toe link. So I can feel there straight away that the top control arm here has got play. I'm not going to take the wheel off the back, I don't feel like I need to, but yeah, these are again inexpensive really, not difficult to change. I'll pick the phone up and see if I can look through the wheel and show you. So that is the top control arm, not the bit going top to bottom, the bit going into the distance. That's the top control arm there, and then that is the toe link just there, and then round here just through that gap, that is the integral link. Although you can only just see it, this is a bottom arm bush that lets go, and this aluminium actually fails, and that lets the whole hub assembly go. It's a shame because they're not actually that expensive either. None of these parts are really that expensive. They're just, a lot of them are aluminium, and they degrade over time. So yeah, just things to be aware of there. And lastly, just to finish off, although the tread of these tyres is really good, the Model S does love to wear tyres out unevenly, and that's basically because the camber and the caster goes out very easily through potholes and just our poor roads. So I recommend just having it checked every time you have tyres. Have a camber and caster check, and if you're taking tyres off which are worn unevenly, there's something wrong. There's plenty of places that do it, but it will save you a fortune on tyres if you do. Okay folks, that's it from me. I hope this has helped you. I'm sure there is something that I've missed, and loads of owners are going to pile in and say, well, you forgot this, you forgot this, you forgot this. Yeah, very likely. I'm sorry, I can't remember everything, but these are, as I say, a lot of the common problems that we find as a company. So I hope you've enjoyed it. So please remember to like, share and subscribe, and follow us on Twitter @KatePhantom, and we'll see you soon in another episode. So bye for now.